we're going to watch Grandmastersson versus Kobuddy. This is a losers bracket match, if I remember correctly. Let me just pull it up. We had a person drop out, so we're now moving on. We've got all of round one of losers done, all of round one of winners done. We need to do Ice Cold Stare versus Alesha in round two of winners. Right now, this one is round two losers, Grandmastersson versus Kobuddy. Whoever loses this is eliminated from the tournament. This is Grandmastersson Deck. You can find them by typing !deck lists or deck list in the chat. And we have a Fire Time Justice value deck. So a little bit of a kind of armory, but not quite. It's got some weapons, but it's not super heavy on it. Has some pillars, but those are also just used for ramp. It's got like Sword of Ikaria and Shugo's Hooked Sword and a bunch of worm stones and things like that. So lots of value, Fire Time, just this stuff. And the other one is Kobuddy with Slashing the Budget. I believe this is the only Fire Time Shadow deck that we've had that's even lost a game so far. There's 3 of them that entered in our 16-person tournament. And yeah, just kind of a sacrifice list. So drones and carvers and things like that. Profane Nexus, Mysterious Waystone, carve it in this particular list. And we're going to jump on in watching Grandmastersson for the first part of this. Good luck. The idea of this tournament is that everybody is allowed only 8 Legends and Rares and a maximum of 2 copies of a single Legend or Rare. So you're not allowed to have a 4 of. This is an interesting hand. It's a pretty good one. It's got a lot of gas in it. It's a little bit light on power, but, I mean, the Seek power helps that, obviously, and now Combrei Banner is an excellent draw. And Grandmastersson decides to go straight with the banner. Makes sense. Now that Torch isn't fast, you don't have to leave it up. / can't leave it up. I feel like Torch that and Seek, but I guess not. Just holding up the Seer instead. Ooh, an assembly line already is real nice. Kobuddy starting out the gate pretty fast. Grandmastersson not playing anything. That's interesting.
Safe travels, friend.
Grandmastersson does have a Shinra Speaks in the market, so might just be waiting for East Annex Smuggler and not killing anything in the meantime to try and go for that. Definitely makes sense. Takes the 3 here. Doesn't want to give Kobuddy any idea, probably, that waiting for this Shinra. It's a good idea to just take 1 extra damage so that you don't tip your hand that you're going to wipe the board in a turn or 2. And I expect just a pass here. Maybe the Merchant. Yeah, no, just a pass. Like, the problem is that Kobuddy hasn't put enough onto the board to make Shinra super enticing. And you're not under a lot of pressure. Putting any of these into play doesn't really do a lot. You don't need to kill any of these. So it's kind of just a waiting game. Trying to get Kobuddy to commit more to the board. And stop using Devours. Unfortunately, Kobuddy's been using a lot of Devours. Alright, this is interesting. So Sword of Ikaria decides to play it. Alright, and just kill the Magenta Wisp right away. I wasn't sure if they would try and get, like, some value by killing some of the Grenadin here. Wow, triple Devour out of Kobuddy. That's a lot of card draw. It's going to be real tough for Kobuddy to lose this now. A ton of cards up, 57 to 61. And again, playing a nice long game, which I almost feel benefits Kobuddy. Grandmasterson's deck is not super fast, but I wonder if Kobuddy is better at going to the late game. I think it might be. And now we see Seer come down and just burn away the Profane Nexus. Absolutely necessary. 4th Tree Elder is a huge unit here. Kind of nasty for Kobuddy to deal with. Kobuddy does not have any flyers besides Carve It. But they do have Combust, and there it comes. So there's 4 Combusts in the deck, and 2 Annihilates as the ways to get rid of that. Luckily had it. Ooh, and here's the Carve It, too. Grandmastersson does have the Scorpion Wasp. Also could just go East Annex Smuggler for the Shenra. Looks like that might be the choice. If that's what happens, though, there's a problem in that it's only right now, it's actually a 3 for 2 for Grandmastersson. Like, they get 2 units, essentially, because these ones just are extras made off of the other ones, and they give up 3 cards for it. It's going to leave Kobuddy with a ton of gas in hand. Yeah, like, Sparkcatcher doesn't really get stopped. Okay, Grandmastersson is going to use the Scorpion Wasp. I like that play. And having this in hand as something to do afterwards as the board continues to get built up makes a lot of sense. Because currently, I mean, Kobuddy's at 38 life, sitting on more cards in hand, doesn't really care about the Shenra Speaks all that much. A lot of these are just little 1/1s. They're pretty disposable in a lot of ways. As we see from this attack, right? This is kind of nice for Grandmastersson, though, because it does mean that they can get rid of that Sparkcatcher and actually pick it up off the Shenra without having to decimate. And it looks like Grandmastersson is going to want to play it right now. If Grandmastersson isn't playing it, I really question that attack. Yeah, that attack does not feel good. I think that you need to hold back still. Kobuddy's flooding out a bit. Been able to mitigate it by having a bunch of these Waystones. No Scorpion Wasp either. This is dangerously low. Kobuddy has a Profane Nexus. Still lurking in the deck. It has to be Shenra. Okay. Like, you can't attack twice here and just take all this damage. But yeah, now Kobuddy waiting, knowing what Grandmasterson's list is able to kind of play around that Shenra a little bit here. Get some more damage immediately afterwards. And we'll see how many more cards they have. Nothing so far. With 4 cards in hand, I've got to wonder what they have. Ephemeral Wisp wouldn't be particularly good, but I think they would play it. Something like Mysterious Waystone definitely would. It must just be like a bunch of power cards. It's the only thing that they have in their deck that I think they wouldn't be playing here. Excavator to get back the sword is certainly a play to make. It's not incredible. It's not exactly what Grandmastersson wants to be doing, because Grandmastersson does have a Shugo's Hook Sword in the list. And that's the real goal. But, you know, Sword of Ikaria is a fine second place prize. Oh wow, and getting aggressive, throwing in the Scorpion Wasp. If there's removal for this, then you lose the sword, so I'm a little bit afraid of that. And this is fine for Grandmastersson with the double torch. Able to just pop that off and start attacking. Grandmastersson is not out of the woods, still being at 6 life, but it's starting to swing pretty heavily in favor of Grandmastersson here. It just feels like Kobuddy must be flooding out like crazy. Do they have 15 power? I can't imagine they have 15.
Safe travels.
That's so much. But there's not any other cards they wouldn't be playing. Like, their deck is Annihilates, Nahid's Faithful, Kindling Carver, and Carvet. There we go. The second Carvet comes down. That's a good one. And a Kindling Carver. Okay. Still something that gets answered really quickly by a Scorpion Wasp. Yeah, so we see a torch immediately for the Carver. I like this attack. Because Kobuddy obviously doesn't want to block. And does want to swing back. It's almost kind of priced into doing it, even if you know that there's a Scorpion Wasp in hand. Yeah. Because there's really not a lot else that you can do. Like, what are you going to do? Sit there and just let the Scorpion Wasp eat you alive? you've got to start putting some pressure back. But, yeah, just a really bad spot to be in, knowing that Scorpion Wasp could be there, but still having to kind of go in on it. Tough game for Kobuddy. Looked wildly in their favor, but just flood forever. And we're going to watch from Kobuddy's side this time. See if they can rally back and make it go to match point. Otherwise, Grandmastersson takes the match and goes on and eliminates Kobuddy from the tournament. Which would, I feel in some ways, is going to kind of be an upset. Although I do like both of these decks. The Fire Time Shadow decks have been really overperforming in this tournament so far. They've been doing absolutely amazing. And for Kobuddy to be one of the first eliminations would be tough. Ooh, Kobuddy throwing back that hand. I understand that it didn't have any time, but I actually kind of liked it. It needed 2 power cards only to get to Mysterious Waystone. You're on the draw. It's got multiple removal spells and a unit. It felt keepable. I might be wrong, though. I mean, Kobuddy has definitely played this deck more than I have. This is their design. They might know. I like this hand, too, now. Ephemeral Wisp, Nahid's Faithful, Devour. All really good stuff. And Grandmastersson coming out with all 3 colors really easily, and an Amber Acolyte, which is a great start for them. Know that they're not having any trouble. Ooh, an Undepleted Time Source is an interesting pickup here. It looks like they're going to go for the Ephemeral Wisp, not Nahid's Faithful? That surprises me. I'm not sure why no Nahid's Faithful. And no block either. Wow. Huh. I'm not sure why nothing else came out there after the Ephemeral Wisp, or not at least a block or something. As it turned out, it actually blocked more damage, but I mean, the whole point of having the Ephemeral Wisp is to be able to keep getting it back, so I'm not sure what the plan was there. Now, obviously, it gets eaten by the Sword of Icaria. And Kobuddy probably trades with the Amber Acolyte.
I'll move anything for price.
Ooh, going to the market for Grandmastersson. That's nice. Yeah, we've seen a lot of, in this game, like, I don't want to criticize our players too much, because I do want to say one thing that people really underestimate, and that's come into play a lot in this tournament, we've seen it time and time again, is some minor misplays, and a lot of it, people have said right afterwards, are like really, really bad nerves. It's hard to be on camera. They know that they're being watched. They know there's people sitting here enjoying these games. And it makes a big difference to have people watching you. And a lot of people, you think that it won't affect you that much, but once you're there, it's surprising how much of an effect it can have. And so we might be seeing a little bit of that from Kobuddy here. With, I mean, just a little bit of a minor mistake. Come back now. I mean, this is a great board for Kobuddy. The 4-3 is very obnoxious for Grandmastersson to deal with. Generally, although that Purify is great. But, ooh, and a Mysterious Waystone. Unfortunately, Kobuddy doesn't have the Shadow. I think you try and go for the Devour and dig for it. And I'd probably do it main phase. So then if you draw another power card, you can play the Display. But it's reasonable not to as well. Oh, God, Shugo's Hooked Sword. One thing you can do about the sword is you can Devour here. So yeah, it doesn't actually deal the damage. Hooked Sword is terrifying. But there's an answer! Profane Nexus instantly kills it. Let's see if Kobuddy remembers that. Because Kobuddy can use this. Soul's Fury. Go for face. Soul's Fury deals 4 damage and the sacrifice is an extra 1. It does mean that Waystone doesn't come down before the sacrifice. It's not ideal, but it does cleanly answer Hooked Sword, and it seems like that'd be the play. Kobuddy might be considering instead, like, letting Grandmastersson have a 2-2 just to get the Waystone down. Nope, gonna go for the Nexus. I don't think the attack there first was necessary, because now you're stuck without having the units. But, oh, right, Ephemeral Wisp. That's actually pretty good. I like that a lot. I think that you don't block here either. I think you let the Nexus take the damage, and you use that Ephemeral Wisp to be sacrificed. Fair enough. I mean, at the same time, the one thing that you don't necessarily care about is Last Rites is generally not super useful. So that's the thing you can kind of ignore. Yeah, I think Kobuddy might have forgot about the Drain and just needed to try and deal the 4 damage to the face with the Soul's Fury. Going for the Combust. I mean, now missing out on the Devour. A little bit rough. I think I'd have liked to see not using the Combust there and just letting the Devour get some value, but good position still for Kobuddy. I mean, Mysterious Waystone is a big problem for Grandmastersson. So I think there's some, like, changes that I would make to the play, but Kobuddy's still just doing great. Shugo's Hooked Sword is scary, but with Mysterious Waystone, it's not going to get a lot of activations. Like, Obrak is going to sacrifice things every turn, and with Ephemeral Wisp, you're going to be able to do that. And that just means that the sword is really not going to do a lot. Obrak is actually legit here. From my experience playing a lot of sacrifice decks, outside of this kind of a tournament, obviously, but playing this deck, this style of deck a lot. This is one of my favorite kinds of decks, long before they added in all the Mysterious Waystones and things. Obrak does a lot more work off of Profane Nexus than you'd think. A lot more. I've been very surprised by it. Yeah, and a good chump block here. Just able to keep that Nexus alive. That passive is putting in incredible work. Same with this Waystone. Honestly, Display of Destruction, just being able to sacrifice is going to be good. Getting a 2-2 off of the Hooked Sword is almost a negative for Grandmastersson here, which is incredible, because that just means that Grandmastersson is taking more damage off the Waystone.
Trust in our sacrifice.
Yeah, and Kobuddy sacrificing to the display, and that's just enough for Grandmastersson, realizing that no matter what they draw, they're not going to be able to get rid of that Waystone, and it's just too much damage. Really interesting game. Mysterious Waystone is such a beater in this. There's very few people that have been running any kind of relic removal, and it's showing. I mean, people not paying the relic tax can certainly hurt. Like, Shugo's Hooked Sword can take over games. Mysterious Waystone can take over games. We've been seeing that a couple times. So really close game, and we are on to game 3. We're going to watch it from Grandmastersson side. The winner of this moves on. The loser is eliminated from the tournament entirely. Good starting hand here from Grandmastersson. It's a little slow, but Kobuddy's not aggro. Kobuddy has a lot of small units and can be kind of aggressive early, but in general, Kobuddy is a much more value kind of slow deck. That's always the part that I liked about these sacrifice decks, is that they can play both sides of the spectrum a little bit. They can get a hand where you just go like, turn 1 Grenadin Drone, turn 2 Nahid's Faithful, and you just bash face. But they can also have a hand where you go Kindling Carver, Grenadin Drone, and you start grinding out value, and you go for a really slow, long, grindy game. And it can play both sides of that quite well. And this is a really nice start for Kobuddy. Getting a little bit of value off of an Amber coin, being able to get this Kato out early. Magenta Wisp. Grandmastersson has an answer for one of these, but the problem is it's an answer for only one. And I'm wondering if that's what they're thinking about. Yeah, so they're actually going to instead, and I like this play East Annex Smuggler, throw away a sword, and just be able to stop the beats for now, get a Shenra, and try and answer this board cleanly. I like that play a lot. Just make it a little more awkward for Kobuddy. Ooh, Nahid's Faithful's scary. But Grandmastersson edging slowly towards that Shenra. Maybe playing a Sword of Ikaria to take this out. Yeah, deciding to do that. It's a tough decision there because there is some amount of a argument you could make to just play Seek Power, hold off, and try and Shenra the board without having to use the sword, right? That being said, if you do that, it does kind of send that signal to Kobuddy. Like, right away, if I'm Kobuddy and I see that, you might immediately sniff out that Shenra. And again, both players have access to each other's deck list, so they'll know in the market what's happening. And so if Kobuddy's paying attention, they'll have a good idea that Grandmastersson is gone for this Shenra. Grabbing a Purify now. Not deciding to go with like a Twin Brood or an Edge of Prophecy. Throwing away Skyfire Hellkite. I'm not sure about that. They've got a lot of power. I mean, Purify is nice because it answers some things cleanly. But Grandmastersson also does need to find, like, some way to turn this game around. Rather than just being defensive, they have to eventually get out of this hole too, right? Killing the Carver. Which, yeah, you do need to answer that. I might have just Shenra'd and silenced everything at this point, decimated. Because Grandmastersson has the power here, right? Like, there's a lot of flood going on. Is that an 8-8? Still just a 0-1. How close? Looking at 8 cards. Okay, this has to be a Shenra. It has to be, right? Grandmasterson's been very patient with it. More patient than I would have been. No! Just a torch. Wow. Grandmastersson is putting on a masterclass of patience here. I'm not sure if it's in their favor to do so. But very, very, very patiently just waiting and waiting on this Shenra. If I'm Kobuddy at this point, I don't think that I'd expect it out of Grandmastersson. Now gets Sword of Ikaria. It's funny, like, Grandmastersson used all of their other removal, and now kind of doesn't need this Shenra, because they never bothered when the board was extended. Like, it seems like they could have just kept the Skyfire Hellkite, answered the board, and had some gas now. Alright, we will see the Sword of Ikaria get picked up. So now the Shenra's gotta come out, right? Sitting on 9 power, facing down 4 damage. There we go. I feel like that needed to be played a long time ago. And now we're in a top deck war. Harsh Rule's not bad for Grandmastersson. I mean, it does get Twin Brood. It could get Edge of Prophecy. Edge of Prophecy is kind of nasty because of the life gain that it has attached to it, essentially. Problem is, it just kind of rams against an Ephemeral Wisp, possibly. Yeah, so they're just going to go for the Twin Brood. The problem with that, of course, is that it also runs into the Harsh Rule problem. Grandmastersson having Harsh Rule here is not exactly what you want to be doing when you have Twin Brood. Although, there's a board that you want to Harsh Rule. Little short of being able to Dragon Forge, but I don't think Grandmastersson cares. Yeah, just snaps that Harsh Rule off. No patience this time. I mean, couldn't really be too patient. Definitely the right play. This is an interesting one. Going for the Dragon Forge. Grabbing the Shugo's Hooked Sword. And I'm going to play the Sword of Ikaria. Trading it off for Grenadin Drone. I might have just wanted to play the Twin Brood. That's why I was thinking it was interesting, is I thought that it would be nice to have something to protect the weapon. Grandmastersson not really caring. Shugo's Hooked Sword can take over this game fast. Kobuddy needs to find something off the top of their deck right now. Because Twin Brood plus Shugo is a very scary combination here. They need like a Profane Nexus. I mean, the Heed's Faithful does mean that Hooked Sword dies, but it takes out the Faithful, leaves Grandmastersson with 2 2/2s and a 5/4. Kobuddy has a little bit of time because of their life total padding, but that evaporates really quickly. You cannot rely on that for long. Yeah, and Kobuddy drawing just a power here. Kind of getting pummeled. I might have just waited on that to have something for like a Profane Nexus if you draw it. Oh, and Kobuddy hits more and more power, flooding out turn after turn here. Facing down 14 damage now. And this is why I'm saying, like, that life total, it gives you a couple turns, but not long. And Kobuddy scoops up the cards, deciding they don't have enough to answer that, and getting out of here. Tough game for Kobuddy.